Hi! As promised, today we are going to do a craft and we are going to make longleaf pine baskets. Here's one that I've made. Hi! As promised, today we are going to do a craft and we are going to make longleaf pine baskets. Here's one that I've made and I will insert another one. So insert picture. I hope you enjoyed that picture. What you're going to need is longleaf pine. Longleaf pine, unlike shortleaf pine, is long. And you can get them off of any pine tree. This is one right here. I go out and gather it in the woods. You get fresh air, you get to commune with nature, and hopefully have a nice craft at the end. So what I do is, here's my box, is I gather them all up into little bundles like this and keep them in a nice little clear storage container, which also goes into a drawer frame, so it's easier for me to keep them organized. You'll also need some string to bind the coils with, scissors to cut the string with, and a needle to sew. If you can see that, a needle. There you go. So, oh, and you'll need something to bind with, and that's what this is right here. This is just a transition connector, copper. It transitions from 3/8 to 1/4. You can do it nice big coils if you like. That's a lot of pine. So I will insert now the photos of the beginnings. So insert photo. There you go. What do you think? Okay. So once you get your coil started, which I have gotten here, you need to slowly continue to add to your bunch. It's like doing a French braid where you're gathering a little more each time you go into it. So let me bring my loose ends. And what you'll find is that the ends of your longleaf pine has, you know, the little connectors. That's what connected it to the twig or branch or whatever. I break those off because it's too much bulk going in through the thing, and I get varying sizes, but I make sure they're all going the same direction, because even though it's very minute, you just take your handy dandy little sewing needle, you hold down your bundle, and what I like to do is go in where the last stitch was and go right next to it. That will give it a really neat swirl effect. Now you can go either in the center of the coil below to attach the upper coil, or you can go all the way to the bottom and make it a full curl. So, and when you're going through here, or when you're finishing up, you are going to end up having to trim it a little bit because you'll get pieces that are sticking out, and that's completely fine. I'm adding a stitch here because this is getting rounder than the bottom stitch. But you want it to be smooth, so you do want to go ahead and cut off all of the sticky outy bits, and that's like this right here is sticking out. I don't know if you can see it right here. This is sticking out. And I'll just break it off or cut it off or whatever. So there we go. I usually get 2 or 3. It's when the reducer starts moving really easy is when I add more needles to it. Now you can do this with rope. You can do it with, I've done it with paper, rolled up paper. I've done it with shopping bags, the plastic shopping bags. You can also do it with any type of long stalk weed. You just want to make sure you're not using something that a person's going to be allergic to. But you can do it with wheat and flax, which I don't know if you're aware of, but the stalk of a flax plant is actually what makes your linen. And that's something we might cover at another time. So I'm just going to continue to keep adding and keep going, and we'll see what it looks like at the end. Oh, by the way, this is not a quick craft by any means. This is something that can take possibly days to do, depending on how big of a basket you want to do. That's why generally if you go into craft shows where somebody's made these, which it's hard to find people that are willing to make them because they take a long time, you're going to find the baskets kind of small, on the small end, because, well, one, they're heavy too. When they get so big, they start getting really, really heavy. So, but it's the time that it takes. It's really, really hard to replenish your supply when you don't have an actual base for your business, but you are traveling and taking it to shows. So you don't see a lot of these. So be happy. Whatever price they are charging you, remember, it took them days to do it. They're not getting paid, $1 billion an hour. They're literally getting paid pennies, because you can't justify, or you can't get people to spend a whole lot of money, unfortunately, on what they view as handicrafts. And they just, and that's the people that don't do them, so they don't understand what it takes to produce that particular thing. So be appreciative, be complimentary to them. So I'm just going to go around to here, and then I'm going to start building up the sides. Okay, right here I'm going to start bringing it up. I never really plan exactly what one of these is going to look like because I kind of let it do its own thing. I don't want to fight it. There's too much things in life that you have to fight. You don't want to fight your project. So basically I'm going to slowly build it up. I'm going to go up a little bit. So here it is flat. I'm going to just go up just a bit like that and grab it. So that also means I'm not going to put the needle in down here at the bottom. I'm going to put it up towards the top. And then every once in a while you have to go in and untwist your twine or your plastic, or I've used sinew, artificial sinew, which is a waxed string, and it grabs it really nice, and you can get sinew in different colors. This is a recycled plastic that I'm using, and I like it because it's a recycled plastic, but I have been known, because my family will tell you I don't like spending a whole lot of money, but I have been known to take my plastic shopping bags and cut them into strips and turn them into plarn, and at that point, it's a single ply plarn. I can do double ply, triple ply if I want, but I use a single ply, And I use a drop spindle to do that. And that is another Indian, well, actually, I think everybody's used a drop spindle. The style that I've used is more of the European style, and I've made my own drop spindles because it's such a simple design. There's no reason to spend 40 bucks on a drop spindle. So that's something else we might want to cover another day. But anyway, that's what we're doing right now. So but you can even do this with colored yarn and plan in designs as you go with the different colors that you might want to use. You could do rainbow, whatever. It's just the yarn, keep in mind, the yarn is not going to slide through as easy as, like the artificial sinew or plastic, because, it doesn't have anything to catch on. Okay, I've worked this down to where I only have a little bit left. So I'm going to tie on the new one. I've already put the needle, threaded the needle through, and I'm going to tie this down. And I'm just going to do a regular knot, I want it to be down a little bit further than that, so I'm going to bring it down. I want it to land where I can cover it up with the next row. So it does take a little bit of planning where you're going to do it. And there you go. So make that nice and tight. And then snip off the extra like that. And you just keep going. So this is going to actually hit a little lower than I planned. So I'm going to have to pull even tighter, I think, to get it to go where I want it to hit. So let's get the needle. Make sure I'm not tying anything. And for this particular basket right now, I'm going into, because this here is where it's coming up from the lip. So that's where it's going to get a lot of the strain when you have things in it. You don't want to put heavy things in it, but still some things do weigh more than others. So I'm going to fix it to the ribbon below so that the ribbon below helps support it a little bit better. And pull it through.